a hotspot for UFOs, cryptid sightings, and unexplainable horrors. But what if I told you the truth is far more terrifying than we ever imagined? It's worth it to you, bro. Welcome to Skinwalker Ranch, the most mysterious and terrifying place on Earth. "911, what's your emergency?" "There's something outside my house. It's not a person. I don't know what it is." Then, silence. This was the last known communication from David Carter, a 28-year-old software engineer who vanished without a trace just minutes after that call. No forced entry, no signs of struggle, no clues, just an empty home with the phone left off the hook. What really happened that night? And why does it fit into a chilling pattern of disappearances that everyone seems to ignore? Buckle up. This story is about to change the way you think about sound and what it can do. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, because once you hear what David Carter heard, there's no going back. Now, let's begin. It was March 12th, a cold, quiet night. David had been working from home alone in his small apartment on the outskirts of town. At 2:35 a.m., he sent a routine work email, nothing out of the ordinary, but at 2:37 a.m., his internet connection suddenly cut out. His phone log reveals multiple frantic attempts to reach someone, friends, family, perhaps a co-worker, but none of the calls went through except one, the 911 call. After that single, desperate call, nothing happened. At 2:51 a.m., police arrived. The door was locked from the inside. The lights were still on and his chair was left pulled out as if he'd just been sitting there. But the phone remained off the hook. And his last whispered words on that call? "It's here." But what was here? And where had David Carter gone? A cold shiver runs down your spine as you imagine the deserted room, an eerie silence punctuated only by the remnants of static. Every detail feels deliberate, as if the very walls hold secrets waiting to be uncovered. When officers searched the apartment, they found something that sent shivers down everyone's spine. David had been typing a document moments before he vanished, a document still open on his computer screen. It wasn't an email or a note to a friend, it was a warning. "If anything happens to me, it's because I heard the sound that doesn't belong. A sound, a tiny detail that might have been dismissed as paranoia, but soon it became the key to a terrifying mystery." David Carter wasn't the first to vanish like this, and he wouldn't be the last. In the dim glow of a computer screen, the words seemed to pulsate with foreboding energy. Every keystroke echoed like a countdown to a mystery that defies explanation. Investigators felt as though they were stepping into a labyrinth where every corridor led to deeper, darker secrets. Over the past 10 years, 5 other individuals have disappeared under eerily similar circumstances. They lived in different cities and led different lives with no obvious connection, except one thing. They all reported hearing something unusual before they vanished. Some described it as a low hum, barely audible at the edge of hearing. Others said it was a sharp, piercing frequency that felt like nails scraping on glass. One survivor, Maria Delgado, experienced it firsthand. She disappeared for 17 hours, only to be found wandering barefoot, her skin etched with tiny scratches. When questioned, she refused to explain further, only whispering, "I let it in." 3 months later, unable to cope with what she'd experienced, she took her own life. Eyewitnesses recall a palpable sense of dread before each disappearance. The descriptions, though varied, paint a disturbing picture of a sound that invades the mind, a harbinger of doom that leaves behind more questions than answers. The unexplained nature of these events continues to haunt investigators. Investigators then turned to David's apartment security cameras, hoping for clear answers. Instead, the footage raised more questions. At exactly 2:37 a.m., precisely when David made his 911 call, the cameras glitched. Not a sudden blackout, not static, but a sudden blinding white screen that lasted for exactly 19 seconds. Beneath that overwhelming white, a distorted sound wave emerged. Sound engineers, upon isolating the frequency, uncovered something even more chilling, a barely audible voice whispering in a language no one could identify. Slowing down the recording, one phrase became disturbingly clear: "It knows your name." Every frame of that footage was scrutinized over and over by experts. The whiteout, as mysterious as it was brief, hinted at an interference not of this world, an anomaly that defied logic and beckoned further inquiry into a force beyond our comprehension. By this point, the case had morphed from a simple missing person into something far more sinister. Investigators discovered that David had been researching a particular frequency before his disappearance, a frequency discovered back in 1989 during an experimental study on human perception. That study was abruptly abandoned after all the scientists involved either disappeared or were found dead under bizarre circumstances. The surviving documents described a sound wave so precise that it could bypass the conscious mind and embed itself deep within the subconscious. And once you heard it, you could never unhear it. The notion of a forbidden frequency raises unsettling questions. Could a sound possess the power to manipulate thoughts, to invoke terror so profound that it erases the line between reality and nightmare? This unsolvable puzzle has captivated researchers, each new piece of evidence adding to the dark enigma. Before vanishing, one of the missing researchers left behind a handwritten note. It contained only 3 sentences. Do not listen to it. Do not let it in. Do not let it know your name. And now, you've heard it too. What happens next might already be beyond our control. These stark words resonate like an ominous prophecy. They serve as a dire caution, a final, desperate plea from someone who knew too much and paid the ultimate price for their knowledge. This is only the beginning. In episode 2, we'll dive into the full-scale investigation. The scientists who analyzed the sound, the bizarre, unexplainable data they uncovered, the terrifying connection linking these cases that no one dares to discuss. If you want to know the truth, subscribe now, hit that notification bell, and be ready. Because in episode 2, the real nightmare begins. As the echoes of that mysterious sound fade, a chilling anticipation lingers. The unanswered questions multiply, leaving us on the edge of a revelation that promises to blur the lines between myth and reality. In episode 1, in a heartbeat, David Carter vanished after a spine-chilling 911 call. A cryptic warning, shattered footage, and an eerie forbidden frequency unleashed a cascade of disappearances. Now, the hunt for the truth begins. The investigation into David Carter's disappearance took an unexpected, dark turn, one that left even the most hardened detectives questioning the very nature of reality. Imagine this. A team of forensic experts, seasoned detectives, and brilliant sound engineers all gathered in one place, each haunted by a single burning question. What malevolent force could twist an ordinary sound into an instrument of terror? Inside a secretive research facility hidden far from prying eyes, specialists huddled around monitors that flickered like dying embers. Dr. Elaine Mercer, whose expertise in auditory phenomena was known across the field, leaned in as she replayed that infamous 19-second whiteout. "It's unlike anything we've ever encountered," she said in a hushed tone, as if afraid that speaking the words aloud might summon more darkness. Her colleagues exchanged looks of deep concern. Could it be that this sound was not a natural glitch but something deliberately orchestrated? Was it possible that a signal, crafted with uncanny precision, could bypass human defenses and infiltrate our very souls? Back at the scene of the disappearance, every detail of David Carter's apartment was scrutinized. In a neglected corner of his study, a scrap of paper had been found. The paper bore cryptic symbols, barely legible in the failing light, a silent testament to secrets left behind. Detective Rohan Patel studied the faded markings with unwavering intensity. "These symbols aren't random," he declared, his voice low and measured. "They might be coordinates, or a hidden code linking other vanishings from the past decade." With every word, the room seemed to grow heavier with dread. What network of secrets could be weaving these isolated tragedies together? And what if the answer lay in a past experiment so dangerous that its very mention sent shivers down the spine? At the research facility, engineers worked tirelessly to isolate that corrupted sound wave, the one that had forever altered David's fate. Each playback revealed not just static, but layers of nearly imperceptible frequencies intertwined with a sinister whisper. The voice, when slowed down, resonated with a chilling clarity. It knows your name. Dr. Mercer explained this isn't mere interference. It's as if the sound is alive, evolving, adapting, reaching into our neural pathways. Her words hung in the air like an unspoken curse. Could a sound really possess such power? What if this forbidden frequency was not just a byproduct of an experiment, but a living entity, a predatory force that latched onto its victims? The mysterious symbols from David's study soon emerged as a vital piece of the puzzle. Detective Patel and his team set out to decode them, poring over fragments from case files and piecing together a pattern that spanned years. They discovered that these symbols pointed to a set of coordinates, a location that matched an abandoned research facility on the outskirts of town. One cold, dark night, under the cover of swirling fog and oppressive silence, the task force ventured to this forsaken place. The facility was a relic from a bygone era, a building where time itself seemed to have stopped. Every creak of the floorboards, every flicker of failing light spoke of long-forgotten experiments and secrets that were meant to remain buried. What dark purpose had this place served? And could it be the key to understanding the forbidden frequency? As days bled into sleepless nights, the psychological toll on the investigators became unmistakable. Some reported disturbing dreams where disembodied voices whispered their deepest fears. Others spoke of strange auditory hallucinations, a persistent echo that called them by name in the dead of night. One investigator confided, "Every night I hear that voice, as if it's reaching into my mind. Am I losing my grip on reality, or is there something else at work here?" The line between objective inquiry and personal terror began to blur. How far would they have to go before the truth became too monstrous to bear? And what price would they pay for uncovering it? With every new piece of evidence, the forbidden frequency revealed itself as part of a larger, more insidious narrative. It turned out that this anomalous sound was linked to a secret project dating back to 1989, a project that promised to unlock the hidden potentials of the human mind. But the experiment ended in catastrophe. Documents recovered from dusty archives painted a grim picture. Everyone involved had either mysteriously vanished or met a grim fate. David Carter's case was merely one fragment of a vast, unholy puzzle, a puzzle that whispered of human ambition gone horribly wrong. What was the true cost of tampering with the unknown? And who was willing to sacrifice everything for the promise of forbidden knowledge? Then came the anonymous audio message, a final, desperate warning that shattered the remaining sense of normalcy. A single, distorted sentence emerged from the static. "Do not seek the sound, for it seeks you." Detective Patel stared at that message as though it were a prophecy. "Is this a warning or a lure?" he murmured, his voice barely audible over the hum of the room. The tension was palpable as the team wrestled with the implications. Some argued that uncovering the truth was worth any risk, while others pleaded that digging deeper might unleash a terror beyond control. How much more were they willing to risk? And was the truth truly worth the price they might pay? As the pressure mounted, one undeniable truth emerged. The forbidden frequency was not an isolated aberration. It was part of an intricate web of inexplicable events, a pattern that stretched back through decades. With trembling hands, the team compiled every shred of evidence, every whispered clue, assembling a mosaic of horror that pointed to one inescapable conclusion. The sound was real, and its influence was growing with every passing moment. Now, as episode 2 draws to a close, the investigation stands on the precipice of an unimaginable revelation. The team is poised to confront the darkest corners of this mystery, where the boundaries between science and the supernatural blur into one. Every document, every chilling whisper, hints at a force that defies all logic. How far will they go to unmask this horror? And what will be left of them when the final piece of the puzzle falls into place? In episode 3, we reveal the shocking conclusion, how the investigation's final pieces align, the terrifying truth behind the forbidden frequency, the ultimate fate of all those ensnared by its inescapable pull. If you're ready to dive deeper into this labyrinth of terror and dare to confront what lies beneath, subscribe now, hit that notification bell, and steel yourself. Because in episode 3, the real nightmare awaits, and the truth may be more horrifying than any of us can imagine. In a heartbeat, everything we've uncovered about Skinwalker Ranch now comes to a head. Tonight, we stand at the edge of truth and terror, a moment where every unanswered question and every shiver of disbelief converges. After weeks of relentless investigation, the chilling events, the cryptic warnings, and the relentless pursuit of the unknown have led us to this final chapter. Remember the haunting echo of David Carter's last 911 call? The mysterious document, the glitching footage, the forbidden frequency that whispered it knows your name. For weeks, our team of investigators, forensic experts, and sound engineers have risked everything, following a trail of eerie clues that have left us questioning the very nature of reality. And now, as the darkness deepens, we finally approach the truth. We begin tonight by revisiting every piece of evidence. In the silence of that abandoned apartment, every creak of the floor, every static burst from the security cameras held a secret that hinted at a deliberate, sinister design. Our painstaking analysis of cryptic symbols and decoded coordinates revealed a network of hidden experiments, covert projects, and human ambition gone tragically awry. Could it be that Skinwalker Ranch is not simply a haunted place, but a nexus of controlled chaos, where human curiosity collided with forces beyond comprehension? I ask you now, how much of this terror is a product of human error, and how much is the work of something far older and more enigmatic than we dare imagine? With every piece of evidence, the investigation pushed us deeper into a labyrinth of secrets. We discovered that the forbidden frequency was not an isolated anomaly. It was part of a deliberate experiment initiated decades ago. The tragic fates of those caught in its grip serve as a grim reminder of the dangers of meddling with the unknown. Our team spent countless nights poring over reams of documents, analyzing corrupted footage, and listening to whispers caught on audio devices. Every detail seemed to suggest that a malevolent force was at work. I could feel the weight of those unanswered questions, each one urging us to dig further, to risk more than ever before. And as the final pieces of the puzzle began to align, we were left with a daunting realization. The true horror of Skinwalker Ranch is not confined to ghost stories or isolated paranormal events. It is an intricate tapestry of human ambition, scientific experimentation, and forces that defy explanation. Tonight, as I stand before you, I can't help but wonder, what price do we pay when we chase the truth? When every revelation brings us closer to a reality that is both fascinating and terrifying. The evidence is undeniable, and yet it leaves us with more questions than answers. And so, with a heavy heart and a mind still reeling from the implications, we reach the turning point of our investigation. Stay with me, because the next moments will not only reveal our final conclusions, but will also lay the foundation for a new journey, one that will lead us to another legendary mystery. But before we move on, remember, if you're as captivated by these revelations as I am, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, and join our quest for truth. Your support fuels our adventure into the unknown. Now, let's confront the final truth, the evidence gathered, the voices that once whispered warnings, and the chaotic echoes of our investigation have all led to this singular, daunting moment. Skinwalker Ranch is no longer just a repository of paranormal tales, it is the living testament to the consequences of human ambition intertwined with forces beyond our understanding. Our team's relentless pursuit has revealed a tapestry of secrets that defy simple explanation. We discovered that the forbidden frequency, a sound so peculiar it seemed almost sentient, was not an isolated phenomenon. It was the product of a covert experiment initiated decades ago, an experiment that promised to unlock the hidden potential of the human mind. Instead, it birthed an enigma that claimed lives and left unanswered questions in its wake. As I stand here, I can still recall the chilling moment when one of our researchers, headphones pressed tightly against his ears, heard a single, crystalline word amidst the static. Run. The shock on his face, the tremor in his voice, every detail was seared into our memory. Was it a warning, a desperate plea from a trapped soul, or simply an echo of something far more sinister? In the ensuing hours, our equipment began to falter. Batteries drained inexplicably, and even our most advanced instruments registered abrupt shutdowns. It was as though someone or something was determined to erase our very proof. The once pulsating heat signatures captured by our drone vanished, leaving behind only the cold, silent facade of the mesa. For a moment, it felt as if the entire phenomenon had been nothing more than a fleeting illusion. But the evidence, the documents, the cryptic symbols, the glitching footage remained as an indelible mark of the past. Every step of this investigation has forced us to confront the limits of our understanding. How do we measure the impact of a sound that invades the subconscious? How do we quantify the price of tampering with forces we can barely comprehend? And perhaps most unsettling of all, is the true horror not the supernatural, but the dark ambition of humankind itself? Our conclusion is as sobering as it is inevitable. Skinwalker Ranch is a monument to the dangers of unchecked scientific curiosity. The experiments of the past have left behind a legacy of terror, a legacy that serves as a stark warning to those who dare to push the boundaries of human knowledge. The mysterious disappearances, the eerie phenomena, and the sudden, unexplained malfunctions all converge to reveal one undeniable truth. When we delve too deeply into the unknown, we risk unearthing horrors that we are not prepared to face. But this is not the end. Far from it. The final moments of our investigation mark not a conclusion, but a new beginning. As we piece together the final fragments of evidence, we are left with more questions than answers. What is the nature of this forbidden frequency? Can its influence be contained, or will it continue to haunt those who seek the truth? And what will be the ultimate cost of our insatiable curiosity? If you've been captivated by our journey so far, I urge you to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Your support is not only a vote of confidence in our pursuit of truth, it is the fuel that drives us forward into the darkness. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you believe is the true legacy of Skinwalker Ranch? Is it merely a cautionary tale of scientific hubris, or is there something far more profound lurking in its shadows? As the sun rises on the aftermath of our investigation, the story of Skinwalker Ranch draws to a close. Yet this ending is but the threshold of a new chapter. Next week, we embark on our next series as we set our sights on Roanoke Island, a land shrouded in legend and mystery, where the lost colony awaits discovery over 3 thrilling episodes. Thank you for joining us on this harrowing journey into the unknown. The truth is out there, and our quest to uncover it will never end. Stay curious, stay vigilant, and as always, keep questioning.